Have you ever wrote a character so incredible you're just on fire to write their story? But what if I could tell you can elevate your story and make your characters really cement in your audience's mind with this one simple trick? Welcome, Scribes of the Extraordinary. Today we're going beyond entertainment and diving deeper into the craft of storytelling by talking about one of my favorite elements in storytelling, and that is foils. Today, I'm going to let you know what a foil is, and we're going to look at some examples from popular stories so that you can see how foils work, cement the idea in your mind, and then execute and make your story even stronger. So, what is a foil character? Well, a foil character is going to be a character that mirrors typically your protagonist. So, foil characters are mirrors of each other. They're reflections of what the other one could become if they make certain decisions. So typically these characters are going to be either very similar and have walked very different paths in life, made different decisions, or these characters are going to be complete polar opposites with the same goal and overlap certain things thematically. Ultimately, a foil isn't just a parallel opposite of your character. They're going to be meshed together, kind of like the yin-yang symbol where the black and white are starting to bleed into each other a little bit. They work together cohesively, making each other stronger, which is very compelling when your foil is your villain, which it most often is used, but not always. So first we're going to take a look at my favorite show ever. I've made several videos about this series already and diving deeper into the characters. We're going to be talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And the foil duo in this show is going to be Aang and Zuko. Now, Aang is an earthbender. He's very free-spirited. He's very childlike. Zuko, on the other hand, is a firebender, where air represents like a free-spiritedness and going with the flow and peace, and everything is calm and beautiful. Fire typically represents destruction and carnage and everything being burned up and consumed. So these are two very different feeling aspects, which another point towards it being a foil, fire must have air in order to exist. And air makes fire stronger. So already the elements work together. But Aang is represented by air, Zuko is represented by fire. Aang is this free-spirited kid. Zuko is burdened with great responsibility from a very early age, where Aang is more optimistic, Zuko is pessimistic. Aang embraces his childhood. He loves being a kid. Zuko didn't get that chance. He was forced to grow up immediately. Aang, his growth arc started as an internal struggle of not wanting to be the Avatar and feeling ashamed for that and wanting to hide it. But his internal struggle could only be solved through an external action and resolution to say, no, I am the Avatar, I have this role to do, but that doesn't change who I am. Zuko, on the other hand, started with an external problem. He was the crown prince, he was banished, he felt betrayed, he felt like he betrayed his people, and he's burdened with this responsibility to find someone that's supposed to have been dead for a century that no one has been able to find. He's sent on this impossible wild goose chase. Also, he can get his honor back and be the prince he always thinks he's supposed to be. So he has this external burden, this external problem. But the solution to it is an internal solution where he goes, no, I am honorable by the choices I make, not by who says I have it. No one can control that but me. So Aang, internal conflict with an external solution. Zuko, external conflict with an internal solution. So you see how they both complement each other. Ultimately, they both grow together. They both understand the power and the beauty of fire and how it's the warmth of the sun and it's light and it's not just darkness and chaos and destruction. They both become very prominent leaders and they both help usher in the world into peace together. You could venture that if they swapped roles growing up, that they probably would have ended up the same way as each other because they are, at their core, pretty similar. Their lives were different, which led them to being different people, but they still complement each other. Next, we're going to hop over into the anime world a little bit and talk about My Hero Academia. In this show, manga, whichever you prefer, I watch the show. In this show, the main character, Midoriya, is foiled perfectly by Bakugo. Midoriya is the protagonist, and I really appreciate that a show handled this in showcasing a main character, a protagonist who is like self-sacrificing and helpful to a fault. Like his fatal flaw is the fact that he wants to do everything in his power to save someone else, which includes hurting himself drastically. Typically, he's not getting hurt by someone else. He's doing damage to himself just to help someone else. And I appreciate that something chose to, talk about this. But he is self-sacrificing. He's the friend. He's the very friendly kid. Everyone wants to get to know him. Bakugo's the bully. Bakugo has always had this incredible power. He's always been like, I am the best at what I do. Midoriya is terrible. And Midoriya, having no powers, always looked up to Bakugo in a way for being so amazing. Suddenly, Midoriya gets abilities, and Bakugo's like, kid, I knew you your whole life. We grew up together. You don't have superpowers. What's going on? How are you getting better than me? This doesn't make sense. So, where Midoriya is self-sacrificing, Bakugo is self-serving. Where Midoriya is quiet and gentle, Bakugo is very loud and abrasive. His way of communication is screaming. Even when he really likes you and you're best buddies, he yells at his friends all the time and they're like, we know you love us. So very quiet and respectful versus his screaming crazy. He's great. Where Midoriya is gentle, Bakugo is abrasive. Where Midoriya is empathetic and offers a listening ear, Bakugo acts like a drill sergeant of clean up your mess, get off the floor, go get the thing done. Where, Midoriya would be like, oh, it's okay, let me help you up, let me help dust you off, let's figure this out together. Bakugo's like, go fix it yourself. In much more colorful language that I will use. Midoriya is all about protecting other people. Bakugo is about winning. Whatever he has to do. He is the hero because he wins. Midoriya is the hero because he protects. But what's really cool about their characters is why they're foils, not just parallels, they're foils. Midoriya has to learn that sometimes you have to win in order to protect. Bakugo has to learn that, you have to protect in order to win. They begin complementing each other. They begin helping each other grow. They begin challenging each other to grow. And Bakugo ends up being one of the only people privy to Midoriya's secret that he's getting power from the greatest hero of all time. And Bakugo respects that. That is a catalyst for his own arc. So even though they are complete total opposites, they complement each other. Now, sticking with the animated theme, we're going to look at Beauty and the Beast. Now, who could possibly be a foil character to this? You would presume Belle is the main character, which she's the protagonist, but she's not the person we're talking about. As I said, foil characters are typically the hero and the villain, but like my last two examples, hero and antagonist turned hero and friend doesn't have to be the villain. In this case, it is the villain, but not to the protagonist. The foil for this group is going to be Beast and Gaston. How are these two foils? Where Beast is reclusive, Gaston is very public. He's boisterous. He's like, look at how fabulous I am. And the Beast is, he hides. Even though everyone knows him, even though he's technically a prince, he hides from all his servants at the beginning of the story. Gaston is very attractive. The Beast is monstrous. Gaston is unyielding, where the Beast is willing to learn. They both, Belle suggests to both of them learning how to read. The Beast actually takes the time to learn, and Gaston is like, this is boring. Let me go hunt something. Where the Beast is protective, Gaston is more has a hero complex. He plays as if he doesn't really care so much about protecting people as he wants the accolade for having protected people. The Beast is kind. Gaston seems to be more forceful and selfish. He kind of feels like a rich, spoiled kid who was never told no and doesn't expect to ever be told no. And when someone tells him no, he's like, she told me no. My world is in chaos now. Where the Beast was feared, Gaston was beloved. So this is another example of foil characters. One final example that I'm going to go through in detail of foil characters is going to be from Harry Potter. And this is going to be wow, that's not the right word. Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy. Now, they both come from complete opposite upbringings. One grew up incredibly wealthy, one grew up incredibly poor. One grew up getting everything he ever wanted, one grew up getting the hand-me-downs, and he wasn't wanted and was shoved underneath a closet under the stairs. Two very different upbringings, where Harry is moral in his decision-making. Draco is pretty amoral. He does whatever is best for him and for the people around him, where Harry does what is right. Harry is humble. Malfoy is entitled. And there are some great butting head moments between the two of them over that, where Harry is kind, Draco is rude. Where Harry is brave and running into the fight to deal with the problem, even though he's scared, Draco hightails it out of there and is a coward and runs. Harry is trusting. He trusts that other people will help him. Draco is untrusting. He doesn't know who to trust and is putting himself in these situations where really he shouldn't trust anybody, so the untrustingness is kind of valid here. But they are very opposite people, although technically they both came from like upper echelon bloodline, just because of how they grew up was so very different. Because Draco is the way that he is a perfect foil to Harry and pulling out all of these elements in him, really showcasing Harry's moral compass is even stronger because Draco's isn't, showcasing how brave Harry is because Draco is cowardly. So foils, the true key to foils is to elevate the character, typically the main character. So you can write an incredibly amazing main character, a fantastic protagonist, but the way to really heighten your story and really showcase who they are and how excellent they are is give them a foil, give them a mirror, give them someone who parallels their belief systems, or better yet, give them someone who was just like them and just made bad choices and walked down a bad path. A foil is really strong when it showcases what the protagonist could have become if they had made the different choices. In the Lunar Chronicles, which is right behind me here, the main character is foiled by the villain. Especially when you start getting into the villain's backstory, you realize these two women really could have been the same person. They're both spoilers for the Lunar Chronicles, by the way. This basically spoils the entirety of Book 1 of Cinder. If you don't want that, skip until the next part. I'll put it up on the screen for you. But they both came from royal lineages. One of them supposed to be queen, the other one has been queen. They were both burned, scarred terribly when they were young. They were both, disrespected and treated terribly growing up. But Cinder is kind, she's ingenuitive, she gets stuff done, she's a hard worker, and she doesn't let all the problems that have happened to her, she doesn't let her scars dictate how she is and who she is. She hides them at first, then she reveals them. Where Levana hides her scars, gets rid of everything that could possibly showcase her scars, gets rid of cameras, gets rid of reflections, gets rid of all the glass in her side of the kingdom, her part of the kingdom. Capital City, no glass because reflective. So they made like anti-reflective glass so no one could see her true self. So they became these complete opposite characters. And there's several moments in the story, I believe especially in the last book, Winter, where Cinder goes, I could have become you. You and I are so similar, but we ultimately made different choices. So your foil characters can heighten and elevate all the hard work you already put into your protagonists, making them even better. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. And let me know down in the comments below what foil duo is your favorite. We also have duos like Sherlock and Watson, Woody and Buzz, Anna and Elsa, along with the ones that I already mentioned of Harry and Draco, the Beast and Gaston, Midoriya and Bakugo, Aang and Zuko. If I had to pick a favorite foil, it would probably be Cinder and Levana, just because, no, it's not. It's Aang and Zuko. I can't not pick my favorite show and my favorite character ever written. Made a really cool video about him, by the way. Would highly recommend checking it out. But let me know, what is your favorite foil duo down in the comments below? And my Scribes of the Extraordinary, that's all I have for you today. I look forward to our next encounter as we continue our journey of going beyond entertainment, one step at a time.